Welcome. This is Word with Brownlow, the Chicago edition, Southside Originals. Once again, as I've always said, no one is worthless, no story is worthless. Today, I have a few words about my guest. He's a father, he's an educator, he's a leader, most importantly, he's a friend. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome Jared Brown.
How you doing, Mr. Brownlow?
How you doing?
Good to see you.
Hey man, great to be here, okay?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna get right into it, okay?
Okay, let's do it.
All right. As a longtime educator, why is it important for you to teach and also be a leader of education here in Chicago?
Oh man, that's a big question. Number one, it's important for me because that's always been what I've been passionate about. Is when I went to Illinois State where we met. My major at the beginning was not education. Then I believe it was revealed to me that was the path I was supposed to be going to. As I noticed that some of my friends in math classes that came from urban, the city or St. Louis, they didn't have some of the foundational pieces that I had because I went to school out in Aurora.
Okay.
And I think the thought was given to me that I wanted to teach for a little while in a suburban district and see what it is that they might be doing differently and bring it here to the city.
Okay. Right. So may I ask, before you got into education, what was your major?
It was business.
Business. Okay, all right. Well, that sort of goes hand in hand with being an educator here in Chicago.
Definitely.
All right. As a principal, you have, how have you seen education change from when you were a student to now overall? How have you seen education
Oh man,
change?
it's a huge change, especially from when we were in school. Right now, the focus for our kids has to be on the metacognition of how they think about things, right? When we were growing up, we had encyclopedias,
True.
we had libraries. Right now, these kids have information at their fingertips. They can find the answer to any question, any data, any fact that they need. So right now, it's different. So what we have to teach the kids is how do you navigate that information? How do you first identify which information is true and factual, and how do you judge that? Because there's so much information given. Social media, Wikipedia, all these other sites that are just not factual sites, that are just sometimes people's opinions. All right, so our students have to be able to navigate through that and then figure out to find out, how do I think about this information? What are the top thinking skills? That's what we focus on. We focus on not just facts or information, but what do we do with that information?
Gotcha.
Right? What do I infer? What are some of the things that I take away? What are some of the conclusions that I draw? And so we put situations out there for kids with the concept because they have to learn the skills, right?
Yes, they do.
And then they have to be able to figure out what to do with it.
That's very interesting. Okay, all right. Let me ask, in your opinion, what does it take to be an effective leader at a school here in Chicago?
Well, number one, I think you have to care about people,
Gotcha.
right? Adolescents, some people will say you're crazy to work with middle school because that is the time of life where you're going through the most change that you'll ever go through in your whole entire life.
True.
And that has implications on what it is we should be doing. So as an effective leader, first, number one, I got to care about people, right?
Yes.
Which means I'm here for a reason. I'm not here for my paycheck. I'm here for a reason. Number two, I have to understand who my customer is. That's where that business comes into, right?
Got you.
So I have to know what my students are going through. I have to know that their attention spans are short. I have to know that they are going through mood swings, that they can be happy as a clam 1 minute and angry as it just swings from one side to the other.
Gotcha.
I have to know that my students are now starting to draw to their peers more and starting to move away from their parents. Like
Yes.
this is the age where what their peers think is more important than what it was from in third, fourth, maybe even second grade. Because as they're getting older, they're starting to become their own selves. They're looking for our identity. So these are just, we have to understand adolescence, number one.
Gotcha.
So I got to know who my customer is because then I have to take that and then with my staff, what implications does that have on what we do in the classroom, right? So we have to make sure that what the kids are learning, because they're about what's in it for me.
Yes.
And so we have to make sure that what they're learning is relevant. It has to be relevant. We also have to make sure that the way we give the information is in chunks. Lecture style will never work in a middle school. If you're ever in a middle school class and the teacher is talking for 30 minutes of the
Yes.
class period, the students have tuned her or him out.
Okay.
So teachers have to get on stage, give that information of how you're going to think and what I'm expecting you to learn, give them opportunities to actually go out and play with it and wrestle with it, have real life situations in the work, and then let them go for it.
All right. So as you hear, man, those lectures are not going to work.
It's not going to work.
Switch it up. All right. When this school first opened, this is Carter G. Woodson Middle School, charter school.
Yeah.
Okay. When this school first opened, it was under the leadership of a Mr. Jared Washington. Okay.
Yeah.
During that time, you worked under Mr. Washington, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Can you just tell me some of the values that you took from him as you now run CGW?
Wow. I can't, Mr. Washington was such an amazing human being, as you know.
Yes, he was.
Friend, frat brother to both of us, a mentor. I learned a lot. Just some of the values that I took from him was around, number one is integrity, right? We're going to be transparent with our people.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do some things behind my door and then go out and say something different to people. So it's just really important to just have your core values of who you are. And as a person, I'm a person of integrity, so I have to make sure that I lead that way. I also learned from him that it's not about either or a lot. Sometimes it's around and. And that was a big lesson for me, because in trying to figure out what are the best ways to do things, whether it's recess, whether it's how to run a professional development, whether it is for our independent scholar program, sometimes it's not this way or that way, it can be and. Like, what are the pieces that we can combine to make the best product, right? So innovation, I'll say, is one of the biggest things that's underlined all that we are founded here, because this school was built on that we need a space specifically for middle school students, down to the chairs that you have in the classroom, right? All of it was thought about. We have something called DAP, which is developmentally appropriate practice. And that's what I was telling you a little bit about earlier, in terms of how we structure our lessons based on what we know about adolescents. If you go in the classrooms, you'll see chairs. They don't have these armrests on the side.
True.
Because they know our kids are growing and they need to move. And so it's just being real intentional about what it is that we have here. And we wanted a space because they came from NKO, which was pre-K through 8th grade.
Okay.
We wanted a space for our middle school students only, to where everything would be geared towards them. And so the foundation around innovation is, all right, what's working? What's not working? How do we change it? And let's not be afraid to make some changes mid-year right now.
Gotcha.
Been many times where we'd be in here, he used to work in here with me, and we say, you know what, I don't think that's working, let's switch it up now. And let's get a couple of our leaders down here, let's talk about it. Blue sky, if money wasn't an issue, and we would say blue sky, right?
Right, yeah, go Mob.
So if money wasn't an issue, what would we do? How would we function? Right? And so then take the next step back to it. Okay, what pieces of that can we have? So what's the and part that we can have from that?
That's very interesting.
Learned a lot from that brother.
Okay, man. Never, ever will be forgotten Jared Washington, ever.
Yeah.
My last question to you. What is the one word that best describes Jared Brown? If you had to pick a word, what word would it be?
Wow. That's tough. I think I would say passionate.
Passionate.
Either passionate. I'm also leaning toward dependable.
Why would you pick those words?
Because in the work that I'm doing, it's not about me. So we just had a meeting yesterday where we were talking about where part of it we gave a courage award to one of our former students. You remember Nazaria?
Yeah.
So Nazaria earned the courage award because she came down with an illness in October, very serious. She was in the hospital for a few months, and she hasn't been able to return. And so she's been at home, she's been homeschooled, but every time you see her, man, she's smiling.
She's always in
And
good spirits.
she's going through a lot right now. But she is a reminder of how to handle challenges and how to attack them. And so when I was given the award, I talked about her name. The meaning behind her name was it was connected to God or something like that. I forget exactly what it was. But what I took from it was fulfilling your purpose. And so in fulfilling your purpose, it's kind of like the tree, right? A tree is strong, it bends but it doesn't break.
True.
It provides fruit, provides food, provides shelter, shade, but none of that is for the tree. It's for
It's for the people.
it's for the community, it's for the people. And so I would say dependable because I think that's why I'm here, because I'm not here for me, I'm here to help the community.
Man, let me just say I have appreciated this, man. Real quick, I wanted to come back to CGW because this is where it started for me. And when I knew I was coming home and I knew I was going to be filming, I wanted to come here. I wanted to film you. I wanted to talk to you because we go back a long time. Like you said, Illinois State, Phi Beta Sigma, but we've always been friends. We've always been cool. And I appreciate that you and Jared Washington, man, took the time to like let me come in. And I mean, this is for everyone that I met along the way. This show is about people. The show is about you all and you all's stories. And the fact that I know you all have stories to tell. That's why I'm here. And I just thank you, brother. Thank you.
Anytime, really is.
We out.
Come on.